Most people feel angel nudges every day, but almost no one realizes it. In this conversation, you're going to learn how to recognize those signs as they're happening and how to tell the difference between your fear, your intuition, and true angelic guidance. Hi, and welcome to the U World Order Showcase podcast, where we feature life, health, transformational coaches, and spiritual entrepreneurs stepping up to be the change they seek in the world. I'm your host, Jill Hart, the Coach's Alchemist, on a mission to help coaches and entrepreneurs amplify their voice, monetize their mission, and get visible. If you're ready to start attracting premium clients without chasing algorithms or hunting people down like a banshee on a mission, head over to coachesalchemist.com and schedule your free client acquisition audit. It's the first step in building a business where clients seek you out rather than you having to hunt them down. Today, I would like you to meet Kaylin Devian. Is that right? An angel therapy practitioner devoted to helping people awaken their connection to the angelic realm and receive guidance in their everyday lives. She believes deeply in the power of spiritual intuitive alignment, not just for healing, but for living with clarity, purpose, and confidence. Kaylin is here to help people step into their gifts, trust their inner knowing, and experience the presence of angels in a real and tangible way. Welcome to the show, Kaylin. It's great to have you with us.
Thank you so much. It's an honor to be here.
Okay, now I'm going to ask you the big question.
Okay.
What's the most significant thing, in your opinion, as individuals, we can do to make an impact on how the world is going?
That is super easy. Work on yourself.
Yeah,
Start with yourself. Do all the things that you need to do for your growth and expansion, for you to align yourself, shift, move things out that no longer serve you. Because as you do that, you are up leveling your vibration and your impact and your visibility and all those pieces in the world. And it has a ripple effect, regardless of whether you're just going out in the community or whether you're a healer or whether you have your own business. When you shift and change, we impact the world in so many more ways than we actually are aware of.
it's a whole butterfly effect thing, I think. It's just like it starts the vibration going on a different level, and pretty soon the whole world will be vibrating on this much better level than we've been vibrating
Exactly. And
on
it's
for the longest
it's
time.
cumulative
Yeah.
because, when I do it and you do it and the neighbor's doing it and all our energies, we know we're all connected, so all our energies connect and then we're continually raising vibration of the planet just by doing our own work.
Yes. And this kind of goes along with what it is that you're here to talk about, which is most people sense that there's something beyond the physical world, but don't really know how to identify it. How do you help your clients recognize when they're connecting with the angelic realm versus when it's just their mind or emotions?
Well, there's kind of two layers to that. So, first and foremost, I share with them that it's easy and accessible, that all you have to do is ask. And I also share with people that it is also important to know that it doesn't matter what your culture, traditions, religion, beliefs are. Um, the angelic realm is accessible to everybody. The angels are here to help everybody. So it doesn't matter what you currently believe or don't believe, they're here to help you. Once people are in a space where they are like, okay, I just need to ask. And it doesn't need to be a fancy sentence or incantation or prayer. Like it can be if people choose to and they want to expand a bit more and go a little bit deeper with it. But it is literally just ask the question, please help me find my keys. Please help me find the perfect parking spot, or, any myriad of questions. But once they are in that space where they're asking and then they're looking to understand whether what they're receiving is real or not. The biggest thing in connecting with the angelic realm is they are pure divine beings of love and light. So when you connect with them, it should always feel like a loving, nurturing, warm presence. And it's always positive. So it is never, you being encouraged to do something negative or harmful towards yourself or others. And a lot of people do describe it like a big warm hug. And so it's a very positive experience. And we may feel, or people may feel that in different ways, right? They either feel it or know it, see it. They might have auditory sounds. It just depends on how you receive, but it will always feel positive and loving.
I love that. Is there a difference between the angelic realm and spirits in the other side? Are they one and the same, or are they different?
They are different. So a lot of people work with spirit guides, or we talk about past loved ones and ancestors. Those are different than the angels. So angels have never had a human experience on Earth. And so they are not dealing with or affected by ego in any way. And they are literally kind of like the highest vibration, closest to source, God, universe, whatever term you use in that aspect. Um, and like I said, they are pure divine beings of love and light. So they don't have any of the stuff, right, that we as humans experience. Spirit guides and or past loved ones doesn't mean that they can't support us and guide us from the other side, but past loved ones in particular, because they've had a human experience, they're still, even though they're on the other side, they're still coming from a human perspective. And so if Aunt Betty's coming in to help you and Aunt Betty's perspective is from the 1950s, it might not be applicable or the best guidance at this time per se. Plus, as humans, on the other side, we're still dealing with ego to some aspect. Even though other things have shifted and changed, ego can still come in. And so that is the difference between the angelic realm and your spirit guides or past loved ones.
So, one of the biggest myths is just decide. Can you talk about why that advice falls flat and what actually needs to happen before someone can truly make a powerful aligned decision about?
Yes, I actually love that you asked that question. Because when I've worked with mentors and such before, and they're like, just decide, I just want to go, ugh, in some aspects. But that being said, I know that it's very powerful. But the trick is we have to get you to a space and place where you can believe that that decision is valid, where you can stay in that decision and not waver. And so just deciding when it happens is very powerful and can be very transformational. But if you don't have those underlying things cleared up, like your old patterns or your belief, the belief is the big piece, then deciding's not going to work because you're not really deciding, you're not putting the full power behind it. And so I think what people miss when they share just decide is there's a little bit of work that in a groundwork to lay before you get to that space and place where you can yes decide and it'll stick and it'll actually have the power that it can have because you've cleared the doubt, you've cleared the things that are getting in the way, you've cleared the things that aren't serving you.
So, would you say that the doubts are like, is this me or is this them? Sort of.
What do you mean by that?
We all have voices in our head,
Right.
and we talk to ourselves, and we
Yes.
talk to others in our head.
Yes. Yes.
Um, and sometimes you can actually get answers.
Yes.
It is that like where the decision comes in or the differentiation uh, or do you help people understand that it's more like you get answers from the outside, maybe not like downloads, or do different people get information differently? There's a lot of
People
questions in
do
there.
get, yeah. I mean, we do get information differently. Um, we do also have all the answers within us, but sometimes we need that outer confirmation. So
Mhm.
when we're working with the angels, for example, and we're working on eliminating a repeating pattern that's going to help us get to that place of power to decide and stick. Um, you can ask the angels for signs in the physical world to help you know that you're on the right path, that things are going well, etc. Because the reality is we're on earth having a human experience. So things like doubt and needing outward confirmation is something that is important to us. And it also helps us build our confidence when we are working with the angels that, okay, yeah, this is happening, this is real. And that's important because if we don't have that confidence when those messages are coming in, you're going to discount them or not even hear them in some cases and completely miss, that next action step or that confirmation.
So how do people just get started?
Just start by asking.
Do you have
Literally.
to like have an angel name? Do you
No, you don't.
like
Um, that is one of the things that I really want people to recognize is that all you have to do is ask. It really is that simple. You don't have to know a specific angel. You don't have to be familiar with all the different archangels and their names and their roles. You don't have to necessarily, be connected to your guardian angel per se. You just have to ask, set the intention of connecting with the angels in general, and just start by asking. And it can be as simple and straightforward as, can you please help me find my keys? Is there an archangel that's really good at helping you with that? Yes, Archangel Shamuel. But if you don't know that at this time, it doesn't matter. Asking the general question to the angelic realm, the angels will come in and assist you. And like I said, touched on earlier, you don't have to have a specific way of phrasing it. You don't have to have a specific way of terming it. You don't have to go into meditation for 5 hours before you can ask, those kinds of things. I love it because it's something that you don't need any additional tools. You don't need to have crystals or essential oils in your pocket. Again, those things can enhance and deepen your connection, but you don't need it to get started, and you don't need it to create that connection. You already have that connection. You just have to start asking. And the reason we have to ask is because of our gift of free will. Because of our gift of free will, the angels are around us. They're actually very excited and ready to help us. But if we haven't asked for that assistance or that guidance, then they are not allowed to interfere. Now, the only caveat is if you are in a life-threatening situation, it's not your time to go, your guardian angel will step in and make sure that you're safe. But other than that, you do have to ask for that guidance and that support.
I've yeah, my guardian angel used to have to work overtime. Life
Yes,
was
yeah.
young.
Yeah, well, and it's important for people to recognize as well that the angels are already here, whether you feel them, notice them at the moment or not, or how deep your connection is or isn't with them. They're already here, they're around, they're doing their thing, they're doing as much as they can without you asking. Um, but it's literally like, them standing on the sidelines, and one day Betty asks for help, specifically to the angels, and they go, oh, finally, great, okay, and then they get excited because, okay, here, we're going to help you with this. That being said, they don't bombard you with a bunch of things at once, but they're like, yay, the door's open.
And what do you feel about like looking for the answers? It because sometimes it's immediate and sometimes they're like funny. Like I one time was asking for rain on a day where there weren't any clouds. And I
Yes,
promise you, it rained just around me within like a 5 foot radius and
yes.
just for a little, like maybe a few seconds, but it was enough that, you can almost hear him laughing, like, here you go.
Mm-hmm.
See,
Mm-hmm.
Billy, we're here.
Yes, yes,
We're
yes.
having fun with you, and we recognize you're having fun with us.
Yes, yeah. Well, that's actually one of the things that I encourage people to do when they're starting out
Mhm.
is is to look for signs. And some people might say, oh, well, then you're making it up. No, just trust that you're not and just play with it. And the more you can bring in that element of play and curiosity, the easier it will be and the easier it will be for you to recognize. Because we are so busy in our current world going from one thing to the next, where, angels, when they come in, sometimes it can be very subtle or feel quiet. And when we're busy, 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 we're missing all the messages that are coming in. And when we asked for something because we're so busy and we missed it, we get to the end of the day and we go, oh, they didn't help me. When in fact they did, but you weren't able to recognize it because you were too busy. So when you ask a question, especially when you're starting out, I do encourage people to set a time frame and say, okay, for the next 24 hours, here's my question, here's what I want guidance with, and look and be open for that next 24 hours specifically and see what comes in. Then I encourage people to take it just one extra step and write those things down. So whatever you receive, write it down, whether it seems random or off the wall, doesn't matter. And you can do the traditional journal, or notebook, or you can put voice notes in your phone, or you can put just notes in your phone, whatever, but just record it somewhere. Because again, we're so busy, and especially when we're starting out, we may not be recognizing how things are coming in. So when we get to the end of the day and we go and look back what we've recorded or what we've written down, we go, oh, not only do we see how many times we received messages throughout the day, we also can take the seemingly random pieces that didn't make sense when it came through on its own, and connect the dots and get a fuller picture of what the answer or what that guidance means.
I love that. Do you have to ask out loud or can you just do it in your head? How
You can
how does all
totally,
that
yeah,
work?
you can do it both. You can ask out loud, you can ask in your head. It doesn't matter.
So I know you use essential oils and other maybe crystals with what you're doing. How does all that fit into the picture?
So both crystals and essential oils vibrate at a specific, unique vibrational frequency, just like we do, just like the angelic realm. And so the beauty of matching or combining essential oils and crystals with working with the angels, it can do a couple of things. So, one, especially if you're just starting out, it can help you come to know very quickly what your connection feels like, right? Because, like I said earlier, we either feel, see, know, hear, even taste, smell are all ways that we receive our messages. And if you're someone who's very visual, but the angels are bringing, your message to you in an auditory way, that is another reason why you're going, I'm not getting anything, because you don't necessarily recognize at that time, your best way to receive. So when you set an intention and spend a few quiet moments using an essential oil, and this is single essential oils, not pre-made blends, um, you can determine how it feels when you use lavender, for instance, and call in the angels. Or as you get advanced and a little bit more deeper, you can use specific essential oils to connect with specific archangels. So then you can play with that. And it just gives you that extra tool for recognition. The other thing it does is, if you're not a beginner and you're already working in this realm, it can help you deepen and enhance that connection by using an essential oil or a crystal that matches the frequency of the angelic realm.
Kind of like tuning in your radio better.
Exactly. I use that analogy all the time. And I often say that I date myself when I talk about the radio dial because that just doesn't exist anymore. But,
Those were crystals.
yeah.
The transistors were crystals. So I
Exactly,
said,
exactly, exactly. But yeah, it helps you dial in that frequency. It eliminates the static, it aligns it perfectly with the frequency that you need. And then it becomes clearer, more concise, comes through easier, more understandable, etc.
so how do you work with people? Is it in groups, one-on-one? And how does all that look when we're talking about dealing with the angelic realm and this different characters in the that
in the realm.
in the realm.
Yes.
Yeah.
I work with people both in group settings and one-on-one. In fact, yesterday I just facilitated a workshop on angels and oils. Um, so it just depends on kind of where people are at and what they're looking for. Some people prefer the group experience. They find it a really great place to get started, especially if they're not 100% sure, and just want to kind of dip their toe in to explore it a little bit. The one-on-one work has the opportunity for people to go deeper and expand. And one of the things that I guide people through when we're doing one-to-one work, especially in the longer extended containers, is we really solidify their connection with the angelic realm. And then through that connection, we move through a journey where I help them reconnect back to themselves, rediscover who they are, remember, and literally reactivate their innate spiritual gifts. So, regardless of what place you're at, it will just deepen everything to a level where you come to a space and place where you're literally like, oh, wow, like, oh yes, this is who I am and these are my gifts. And then we can take it one step further and say, okay, all right, how are you going to share these gifts with the world? And some people panic and go, oh no, I'm not an entrepreneur. That's okay. We share our gifts with the world regardless of kind of what path we choose to utilize them later. So for some people it is entrepreneurial. For some people, it's just helping and sharing with the neighbor down the street, or influencing some children in a positive way by helping them stay open, those kinds of things. So the scale doesn't matter. We're all here for a purpose, so let's get those gifts activated and let's get sharing them.
Yeah, I love that. And that's really what the U World Order is all about. It's that everybody is important. We all have something to contribute. And when somebody won't turn their light on,
Mm-hmm.
then that little spot's dark. And it impacts those that are around it because they need that light shining. And I just want
Exactly.
everybody's lights to shine.
That's right. That's right. That's right. That's right.
Raise the vibration.
Yes.
So earlier we talked about um, how most people experience angelic nudges every day, but they just don't recognize them. Can you walk listeners through exactly how they can start identifying those signs in real time and what to do when they finally notice one?
Okay. Well, like we've been talking about throughout, the first thing to do is to start asking. Now, I talked a bit about, how our busy world, right? And so when we're out in the world and we're busy and this is new to us, we are likely missing these messages that are coming through. So I invite people when they begin to ask is to just take a couple of minutes each day, ideally before you start your day. But if you can't, that's okay, but just set the intention of sitting quietly for a few minutes every day. And like I said, it doesn't have to be a long amount of time, even if it's only 60 seconds, because I know some people are like, oh my gosh, where am I going to find half an hour to do my angel practice, right? But it becomes cumulative. So if you spend 60 seconds intentionally in the morning to just connect with the angelic realm, and that's literally all you have to do is I would like to connect with the angelic realm, um, and you can say, show me a sign that you're here. And when you do that in that quiet moment and you do that regularly every day, you, like I said, you begin to recognize how it feels to you. It might be tingles across the skin, it might be a change in temperature. You might feel that warm hug or warm embrace. And when you do that regularly, just like going to the gym, right, when we're working our muscles, it becomes second nature. And like I said, it doesn't have to be extended periods of time. So even if you're only doing it for a minute a day, but you're doing it every day, after a little bit of time of doing that on a regular basis, when you're out in the world and you're busy and you get those tingles across the skin, you're going to know that that is how an angel is communicating with you,
They're there.
that they're there. Yes. Now, as far as kind of what to do with it when the guidance comes in, it depends what's come in. So I talked about earlier writing things down because sometimes we don't get the whole message or the whole guidance. It's not like they give us a paragraph of like, and here's your step by step
They're
necessarily.
not Chat GPT.
That's right. That's right. Um, well, and when you're just starting out as well, they might be giving you more, but you might not be picking it up yet. Right. And so, whatever guidance comes in, the first thing I would do, is, like I said, is write it down, record it somewhere. And sometimes, depending on what you've asked for guidance on, it might be a next step, an action step that you have to take. It might be you've just asked for affirmation or confirmation of something. And so, depending on kind of what you've asked and what came in, would depend on what you would do next after you've written it down. Now, if people are unsure and they've received some random message and they want more information immediately in that moment, then just ask right away in that moment and be open to what comes in.
And how how do you recognize things that are coming in? It's like you do you have stories? Let me ask it that way. Can you give me an example
Um,
of a time maybe when you asked for something or you wanted clarification on something, and then how did those messages show up so that you knew that it
that
was
the
them,
message,
not
oh, that it
you
was them
making
and
it.
not something else.
Yeah, not maybe you making it up because that's
Right,
what you wanted the answer to be. Because,
right, right,
that's
right.
a tendency with people.
It is, it is.
Okay, maybe just me.
Well, and what is the challenge around that for us as humans is to trust that what we are getting is, and to just literally throw the doubt out the door, which I know is challenging. It's definitely challenging. But if you've asked for help with something and you're seeing, numbers, repetitive numbers all over the place, you're not making that up. Fine, you might have noticed it one time, but you can't make it up four times. And so just to trust what you're getting. Now, there's been times where I have asked for guidance on something, and I often get it shown to it through license plates. So I'll see either repetitive angel numbers or repetitive letters that will make sense, in terms of what I've asked, for example. Um,
I get angel numbers all the time.
yeah, angel
It's
numbers are really
one,
easy.
one, 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 and 111 are like every day
Yes,
I see
yeah,
those numbers.
that's right.
Okay.
Exactly, exactly. Yeah, I've had so many experiences, but it's just like, see, for it's challenging when you're in a space and place where it's become second nature for you to dial it back and go, when I started, because like I've had some things come in, like trickle in, where I'm in this writing group, and
Mhm.
I'm currently working on a book, and I seem to be very much at a start and stop point. And if
Mhm.
I'm a person where I need a nice hard deadline, and to be accountable to somebody in order, it's not in all instances, but in some instances, to kind of get to the end.
Mhm.
And so this one particular woman is in my writing group. She's the head of it, and she does editing and book consults and that kind of thing. And I literally just had this, seemingly random thought that I should connect with her and see how she could help me to kind of help me bring this book to the end, to finishing it, because, like I said, I'm going in ebbs and spurts and it really needs to be finished now. And so, what can I do with that? And in that moment, it was just a thought, or it seemed like it was. But then when we connected on our group call the other day, she actually brought up that she's now offering one on one consultations at a 25% off till the end of the year, da 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 da. And she asked me if I'd be interested because she was just asking everybody in the group, would that be helpful at all? And then I said, yes, actually, the other day I got this hit and then I just haven't reached out to you yet. But she had picked up on my vibe and I had picked up on her vibe. And a lot of times when people are receiving messages and guidance, like I said, it doesn't always make sense in that exact moment. Um, but you either need to follow the action step that is given to you or just notice it. Another beautiful a story that I love, which is a little bit longer, but um, when people you may not always see what those guidance and messages are until you get to the final end game per se. um, when I was traveling to my mother's funeral a couple of years ago, I met a lovely lady in the airport and it was divinely orchestrated, but it wasn't until I got to that moment where I recognized all the steps and all the things that happened before that took me to that moment. And if I had missed one of them or done a little in a different order or a little bit later, I would not have met her. So, and it was, it started with me taking my kids to a movie. And some people might be like, well, how does taking your kids to a movie lead you to meeting this woman in the airport? Which you say is divinely orchestrated. But if I was to list out all the steps for you, you go, oh, it would become very obvious. But I had no idea at the time how each of those steps was leading me towards this meeting.
It's not like synchronicities that happen in our lives aren't necessarily synchronicities or serendipity. They're generally angelically orchestrated somewhere along the line. And I think we all ask the angelic realm for things all day long,
Mm-hmm.
because we are human beings and there's a connection there, whether you want to acknowledge it or not.
Exactly.
We're always
Exactly.
broadcasting something.
That's right. We are.
And so when things kind of just like all fall together, or even sometimes when things fall apart, we're like, oh God, that's so terrible. But often it's really not so terrible. It's just different. And even those things, I think sometimes are orchestrated for our good. And if we look at the world or the realm in terms of it's here to give us an experience and a good one, um, then we we might feel more inclined to lean into the angelic realm and appreciate that they're here and they're here to help us and to take advantage of it.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. Yes. Yeah. And of course, that can be challenging when you're experiencing something that feels more negative or traumatic and that kind of thing. But there are reasons, and and the angel, like I said, the angels will never let you come to harm. So even though it might feel awful in the moment, they've got your back. They're looking after you. They're protecting you and keeping you safe. And then sometimes too, these things happen because we missed the step back here, and they're just trying to gently guide us over back to this step over here, which is get us closer faster to what we desire.
Yeah, I like that a lot. So, um, do you have a community that you work with? Do you just do workshops? How does that
Like, how do
look?
people connect with me, or
Yeah, how would somebody get in touch with you and say, "Hey, I want to work with you," or "I want to be part of your group," or "I want to be in one of your workshops"?
yes, the best place to connect in is through my website, yourinnerlight.ca. All my services are listed there. I do have another site that has like my programs and workshops on it, but if you go to Your Inner Light, the services page, if it's not listed directly there, there's links to take you to that workshop page, which helps people to get connected into that. And the thing I love about the workshops is they're always recorded, right? Because a lot of them are online, and you have access to that forever. So you go through the experience the first time, and you have the opportunity to go back and review, check in, maybe do an experience, because my workshops are very experiential. I That's really important for me, for you to experience it so that you, like I said, build that foundation and recognition. And so you can go back and redo those pieces. And each time you do that, things become stronger, you become more confident, you recognize something new, and it allows you to go deeper. And then continue to build on that foundation and that expansion and connection.
I love that. I love that. So yes, they can come live and have the experience, and yes, they can also just watch the recordings and have an
Absolutely.
experience that way too.
Yes, yes, right, because it's all energy. So it doesn't matter. And the timing is always the right timing for who when you're watching it. Um, and like I said, the more and more you open up and connect in, the more and more you're going to recognize that. And then the more and more fun it becomes as well. And like things really do become magical and expansive. And it doesn't mean we don't have our regular ups and downs in our human experience, but we're able to navigate those more easily, or we might not be in that space for as long, or we know how to call those angels in to support us to move through it with more ease and grace.
Yeah, I love that. It's so easy to forget too.
It is. Yeah,
It's just like,
absolutely.
dang, I could have been out of this spot had I just like leaned into them.
Exactly. Exactly.
So
Exactly.
really appreciate you joining me today, Kaylin. This has been an amazing conversation.
You're very welcome. Thank you. Well, I could talk for hours and all the different things and all the different layers. I'm sure we could go on many tangents.
For sure. To learn more about Kaylin and to explore her workshops and other uh, offers, please go visit yourinnerlight.ca, and we'll be sure to put that link in the show notes below. Thanks for tuning in today to the You World Order Showcase podcast. If you're ready to amplify your voice, monetize your mission, and start attracting premium clients, your next step is simple. Head to thecoachesalchemist.com and schedule your free client acquisition audit. Be sure to join us for our next episode as we share what others are doing to raise the global frequency. And remember, change begins with you. You have all the power to change the world. Start today and get